Hello and welcome everyone to the SenpaiNoticeme VGCS Grand Finals. So, we're going to be looking at a time leap versus time leap matchup, which will hopefully be very exciting. It's going to be against Zhen Yang on the left and Tian Sheng on the right. So, as we see, it doesn't seem that they're going to be great stuck just looking at their first hands, and they flip up both of their chrono drans and they decide who's going to go first, so it looks like Tian Sheng. So, let's see if he's gonna. It seems like he does have a grade 1, so it's gonna be a smooth ride up, and there we go. Now, passing on to Zhen Yang's turn. He's also got the smooth turn 1 ride, so it's all going pretty smoothly for now. And there's a TikTok, so that's a good start for him. Oh, and Tian Sheng top decks the grade 2, it seems, at least from his reaction. There's a Kali Boom in his hand as well, and his Stride Fodder goes to Zhen Yang's damage zone, and that might hurt him because I can't really see any stride fodders in his hand right now. So if he's not able to draw any for later, then that's gonna hurt quite a bit. So Zhen Yang uses his Kali Boom to get rid of the starter, and Tian Sheng does have to shuffle. So that's one of the things that I forgot to point out during one of the previous SenpaiNoticeme VGCS games. So 18k line, he blocks with a 5, and a 9k, he takes it, he gets Perfect Guard and a stride fodder in the damage zone. He rides up to the Chrono Jet G, uses the GG to Soul Blast 2 and draw 1, and there's a little bit of shakiness, and he uses Kali Boom to get rid of Zhen Yang's starter, so that's an equal trade for both. And also any shakiness or anything that's happening right now with the camera is, just gonna point out the disclaimer once again, this is not me filming it, this is happening in Malaysia, in which I did not take place since I do live in Europe. So 16k line hitting, and there's a crit and nothing else, so let's see. And he gets a heal, so that's pretty good for Zhen Yang. And let's see, this should be a 20k, I believe, because of the trigger. So he's going to just drop the draw trigger, and that is enough because he goes up to 24 since he had 2 triggers. So, let's see, he does have a Chrono Jet G in his hand, but I'm not sure if he has a Stride Fodder, which could prove to be very problematic. So I think he's deciding now if he wants to ride up or not, because riding up is going to mean that if he can't stride, I don't think he actually physically can. I don't think he has 3 grade 1s in his hand. No, he can't. He has 2 grade 1s, so he can't actually physically stride up. That is very bad. So he did ride up to grade 3 though, so it's a bit, it's going to be an interesting game, but I think he's already putting himself at a disadvantage because he had to ride up. So let's see. He's going to swing with the Kali Boom on the Kali Boom, so that's a pretty self-explanatory choice. And there's a 2 to pass coming through. There's History Maker and a GG, so that's not the best turn for Zhen Yang because he couldn't take the first stride, and now Tian Sheng's going to take it. And let's see what he's going to do. He goes into the Chronos command, and he is able to use Chrono Dragon G's skill because it is the right race. So he time leaps his GG into a History Maker. So let's see if he calls any back row behind it. I think he does have the TikTok in hand. So he will be able to call that. He can call that behind the Melem actually, but oh no, I think it was. I got them mixed up. It's actually Zhen Yang who has the TikTok in hand, I believe. So Tian Sheng attacks with the Melem, and Zhen Yang intercepts. And now he uses the Melem skill to get out an Orwatar, and now he's going to be able to use History Maker to time leap the Orwatar and get himself an extra card in hand. And he time leaps into the Melem as well, so that's going to be an extra attack. So overall, it's looking very solid on Tian Sheng's side. He's able to play this out pretty well. So there goes the Orwatar. So let's see, he's going to draw this too. There's a stand and a crit, I think. So that wasn't the best, so let's see what he decides to put back. He's kind of hiding his hand from the camera. And I think he's deciding between the 2 cards that he drew, and he puts back the crit. So that's, an understandable choice. But let's see what he decides to do next. Probably, I'm not sure. He could actually not attack with the Melem until it's the last attack. So yeah, he's gonna do that. He's not gonna be able to use his Chronos command because he has only 1 open counterblast, but he gets a crit. Oh no, Zhen Yang damage checked his one and only Orwatar. That is very unfortunate, and that might actually cost him the game because that is a lot of advantage. You can see how frustrated he is. That is a lot of advantage from the time leap deck just going in the damage zone. Quite sad to see. Oh god, he's really beating himself up about it. Like, I can understand that because it does hurt a lot. So god damn. So no advantage for Zhen Yang unless he's able to heal that Urwatar away and put it back to his deck. But damn, that is actually very impactful, so, and very unfortunate. So yeah, now it's gonna be the end of Tian Sheng's turn, and let's see if he can he top deck a Stride Fighter? No, he didn't, but he does have the History Maker he can use to Stride, but he's gonna have to choose one of his other grade 1s. I can see he has a Perfect Guard, and I'm not sure what the other grade 1 is. It might be a Melem, and or a GG, I'm not too sure. But he will have to drop the History Maker regardless, because it is one of the only grade 2s, if not the only grade 2 card in his hand. So let's see, he's considering the History Maker and the Perfect Guard, so he's deciding. He's not quite dropped it in the drop zone yet, so I think, will we see a Melem? No, he's not going to do that. It's going to be the History Maker, and he's still making up his mind. And we can see Tian Sheng is just shuffling his own hand like it was his deck, so it's pretty fat right now. And he's going to drop the Perfect Card, it seems. Is he? No, he's still not sure. No? Okay, he's dropping the GG instead. So he finally decided what to drop for Stride, so he does have to Stride eventually. So let's see, he's considering the... Well, it's not going to be the next series, obviously, because it doesn't have any face-up G units, but it's going to be the Metallica Phoenix, so he's not going to be able to use Chronojet G skill, sadly, but, you know, that's kind of what happens, you know, when you decide to use Metallica Phoenix. So he calls out his Melem and his TikTok, and he does have a crit that he's considering calling as well. So he's probably going to call that just because, yeah, so he calls that just to get some card advantage and some cards in the soul as well. So it's nice that he has the Melem and the TikTok together, so that's pretty good. He's going to boost it as well, so that's a 16 hitting the Vanguard, and it looks like Tian Sheng does guard it. So he's going to use both of their skills. So the TikTok goes in the soul and the Melem goes into the bind zone. And he's going to call the History Maker in front of the crit, so now that's an actual attack going through. And now, you know, he doesn't have his Zorwatar anymore, so he has to call the draw trigger. So it does hurt, but he's reconsidering, it seems. So he does, we just saw the Chrono Drang in his deck, so he might actually call the Chrono Drang. Yes, he does. So, you know, it's quite unfortunate because optimally you would have called the Urwatar there, but it's in the damage zone, so that really sucks. So he's hitting with the 14, and Tian Sheng blocks it with a 5, so he's using History Maker to time leap the Chrono Drang and use the Chrono Drang skill, and it's gonna give him another Melem attack, or maybe not. Let's see what he's considering. He calls one of the other grade 3s, so that's an interesting choice, and one of the grade 1s from Gears of Fate, so he's gonna have to rest that, and then he's gonna be able to draw a card. But he points out that he can't do that because the Chrono Jet, I believe, does specify they have to call a Chrono Jet, so that does ruin his tactic there. So that was almost a misplay, I believe. But so he undoes that, and he's gonna have the Melem in the front and the Chrono Jet Dragon G with the hot stamp in the back. So let's see what he decides to do with this turn. So that 14k attack is over now, so let's see what he decides to time leap. He's probably going to attack with the Melem first before doing anything else, or at least that would seem logical. So let's see what he decides to do. Is it going to be the 11? He's considering, yeah, okay, there's the Melem attack, so there's the 11, and Tian Sheng blocks it with a 5. So let's see, he's going to use the Melem, obviously, to search out a grade 0, and it's going to be the draw trigger this time, and he's going to use Metallica Phoenix to, well, flip one face-up unit and time leap the draw trigger into another Melem to get himself another 5k guard requiring attack. So actually he's been thinning away Tian Sheng's hand pretty well, so even though he's had a very suboptimal field and game overall so far, he is able to pressure quite well, although Tian Sheng still is on 2 damage, but you know, he is thinning away the hand quite well, and ouch! He drew the heal and then from the crit skill, and then he got 2 10ks and a grade 3 from his drive checks. That really hurts, so quite unfortunate to see that. So there's the Melem attack, and it's gone already, and he's getting out the stand trigger to use for next turn for any G-Guard shenanigans and gaining power in his Vanguard. So he's undoing his time leaps as he should, and then just putting back the cards where they're supposed to be. And Tian Sheng is going to be going into the next stage. So this could be it, honestly, because, you know, Zhen Yang did stack up quite a few cards in his hand and have quite a nice aggressive turn, and ooh, the Caliboom is putting away the stand trigger. That really hurts. So he was preparing that defensive play for next turn, so this could be it for Zhen Yang, honestly. This turn could really seal the deal because, you know, we see quite a few hands in Zhen Yang's, we see quite a few cards in Zhen Yang's hand, but, you know, will he be able to keep up with the aggression? And you know, there are 2 10Ks and a grade 3 in there that we saw through the drive check. There's 2 grade 3s there, so I'm not sure how defensive that hand really is, but we'll see what he's capable of. So he attacks with the 14 and uses the History Maker to time leap the Chrono Dragon, and he's going to call out the Chrono Jet Dragon G, and he can still get himself a grade 1 as well. So it looks like it's the Meshkia, I believe that is her name. So he rests her immediately as part of her cost, so he's going to be able to draw an extra card and give 4k to something. So let's see who he gives the 4k to once he finishes shuffling. So there's the cut from the opponent, and he's activating Meshkia to draw a card. I think it was a crit that he drew, I'm not too sure. And he gives the 4k to the Chrono Jet G. He attacks with the next stage, so he has his 1 counterblast open. So let's see, and he has to pay the cost of next stage. So he's getting ready for that. So let's see if Zhen Yang is gonna guard this. He does perfect guard it. He's checking if he has perfect guards in the drop zone. He does not, so doesn't get a counter charge. There's a perfect guard, a strike fodder, and a crit in the drive checks. So he gives the crit to the Chrono Jet Dragon G. So, and he's gonna drop, I think he's just dropping the cards that he drive checked for the cost of next stage. So he flips one up and puts the other one back to G zone, and now Chrono Jet G is hitting it with his full power. So let's see, they're calculating what the rear guard is going to be attacking at. So I believe it's going to be, he got the 4 from the Meshkia, he got the 5 from the trigger, and then I believe he also gets some from the G itself as well because of the face-up G unit. But let's see, so Zhen Yang is going to G guard, and let's see which one he's going to go into. So he goes into the Uluru, so he's going to be able to return 2 cards back into his deck. So let's see which ones he decides to choose. I think he's still making up his mind which G guard he wants to go into, so he's not sure what targets he even has to do it for. So I think he's still, yeah, okay, he's still going to do it. So he confirms which targets he's going to do them for, and he's putting back the crit and the Melem. So well, you know, the crit's always good, and it's a combo piece with Melem, so it's nice. So he has the heal, is unable to heal though, and gives everything to the Jet G on the rearguard circle, and there's another G guard coming through. And let's see which one he goes into. Will it be another Uluru, or will it be something else? No, it's another Uluru, so he's gonna probably put back the heal that he just used, and probably Perfect Guard or something like that. But let's see, no, it's the GG and the heal trigger itself. So there's that. Alright, well, they're just, oh, he's still reconsidering something else. No, he's putting back the crit. So he's going to try to finish off the game and be very aggressive next turn, because this is essentially the end of Tian Sheng's attacks. So he's undoing his time leaps, and I think he was considering the GG there. But let's see what he decides to do. Yep, he Soul Blast 2 for an extra draw, and he gets the History Maker into his hand, so that's an extra 5k shield for this turn. Now, Zhen Yang at least has a Stride Fodder, but he only has 2 cards in hand, which is not very good even for a timely player. So let's see what he decides to do. He's going to go into the next stage, so that beautiful secret next stage. So he has a Meshkia and a 10k Vanilla in his hand, which, you know, it does form a column, but it's not exactly the most optimal. So he's going to use the Chrono Jet G's skill to time leap the Meshkia. And he is able to, because next stage is the right, I believe it is the Gear Dragon race, and Chrono Jet G allows you to have 1 of 2 races as your stride. So he gets the History Maker from his stride, and he does have the 10k Vanilla, so he's kind of wondering like if that's the right choice. I think the Upstream is a better choice here, and that's probably what he's going to go into. Yeah, so he gets the Upstream. I think that was the last one in his deck, or maybe there was one more. But he gets the Upstream, so he's going to be able to get out a grade 1. It will come into rest, but he does have the 10k Vanilla for an extra attack. So let's see. He does have the last 10k Vanilla in his hand, and he calls it, so he has an empty hand. He's going to hit with the 13 from the Upstream, and, well, it's just going to be a 5k shield from Tian Sheng's side, and he's going to drop the History Maker. So let's see what he's going to get from this Upstream. And it's going to be a Melem, sadly going into rest position. Is he? No, he's not sure about that. Is he gonna... Nope, he's just gonna call a different Melem, so... Okay, that works too. So, let's see... He's checking how much soul, and I think he just doesn't have a GG left? Although I thought he did, but I guess he did... Oh no, he does have the GG, so he's gonna call it behind the 10k Vanilla. So that's going to be allowing him to Soul Blast 2 and draw a card. So that's actually quite alright because it does come into rest. So at least it gives him an extra card in hand for the next turn. Although I'm not sure if he's going to be able to survive next turn if it does come. So if he's not able to finish off the game right now. So he gets a draw and we don't really see what it is. So that's a bit unfortunate. So he's going to swing with the next stage and let's see what he's going to get. So Tian Sheng can pretty comfortably guard this. He does have a heal to drop for a G guard. He might even have a perfect guard. I'm not too sure about that, but I think he does. So let's see what he decides to go for. I think he has 2 G guards even, so that's actually very good for him. So should be able to survive this attack pretty easily. And then there's a 10k vanilla sitting on the side. So, but it will be buffed from Chrono Jet G, I believe. And then he pulls out a tablet to answer a call, it seems. So that's quite an interesting thing to do at a finals of a VGCS. But you know, man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. So let's see. I think there's an Axel World wallpaper. I'm getting distracted. So he gets a grade 3 A Strike Fighter and an upstream from his drive checks, and that's only 1 damage. So Tian Sheng is sitting on 4 damage quite comfortably. So he should, well, he's gonna have to block this Chrono Jet G attack, but that's not really gonna be much of a problem because he does have the G guards at the ready. So I don't think it's gonna be much of a problem for him. And let's see, the Chrono Jet G is about to swing, and there it goes. So he's gonna G guard, and let's see what he decides to call out. That's an interesting way to look at the G zone. So that's the one that no, okay, he's just going for the Uluru, so that's fine. So I'm gonna have to hold back the other piece of commentary that I would have said. But let's see, so he's probably gonna put back a heal or a crit. Okay, it's gonna be the crit. And the grade 1 that he's gonna choose is probably gonna be a Melem, or he doesn't even have one, he's gonna be a History Maker. So I think all his Melems are still in the deck, or yeah, he has one in hand as well, it seems. So there's that, but let's see, he still wants to drop another card just to be safe, so that is no pass, and there's a crit going on the 10k vanilla and a History Maker. So the possible final attack, but it's not going to be much because Tian Sheng has the second Uluru G guard, so there's another crit going back to the deck and a perfect guard, so that's very nice for him. So this is going to be pretty much the end of Zhen Yang's turn. So let's see if Tian Sheng can close it out and be the winner of this VGCS next turn. Because right now it's not looking too good for Zhen Yang. He might be able to survive it with some heals because he is on 4 damage. But we're seeing the Chrono Dragon GG coming in. So this could be a pretty interesting way to say GG to this game. But yeah, this is the first time that I've seen not just Tian Sheng, just Gear Chronicle players use GG in a while, but I know that it has been adapted recently into more and more timely decks, so that's interesting to see. But it's quite refreshing to see it being used, so I am quite happy about that. And I think here, I believe Gear Groovy is an act. So okay, he goes back and he's going to activate the act, and he's choosing the Chronos command and the next stage as the targets of the inheriting skills. So he attacks with the Gear Groovy, and well, that's gonna slide, so there's 2 Chrono Jets and a perfect guard, so damn. And Zhen Yang's now on 5 damage, and Tian Sheng is able to use the next stage skill inherited with the Gear Groovy, and he's gonna restand his Chrono Jet Dragon G. And now they're counting how many face-up G units he has for the total power additions, so it's a total of 8. So this is looking pretty much like game, and there's a perfect guard and the Chrono Jet, and that's the end of the game. So the winner is Tian Sheng. Big congratulations for winning the SenpaiNoticeme VGCS, and that is it for me as well. I hope you did enjoy the commentary, and let me know any of your thoughts, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.